it's a system, it's a process. I don't think it's you may get lucky along the journey, but you don't stumble upon $1 billion. You only create it by grinding.
I'm Maud Leger, and this is the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we crack the code to real estate success. Learn from top realtors, entrepreneurs, and innovators about how to grow your business as we discuss real estate success stories, mindset, processes, motivations, and the key to their success. Check out our podcast episodes every Monday to crack the code to success for your real estate business. This week, I'm speaking with Dan Lazar, CEO and co-founder of HeroX. Dan shared his success story with us as a real estate developer. Strong believer in taking actions, tracking them, and seeing the compound effect they bring into any business. He also shared advice for any realtors working on pre-construction and working closely with developers. Let's get to my chat with Dan. Hi Dan, thanks for joining us on the episode today. Tell us, how can realtors stay on top of their game?
Thank you for your invitation. I think realtors can stay on top of their game by leveraging technology, by looking at how they can maybe implement virtual tours or different tools that may enable them to get more inquiries and potentially more sales. And secondly, by working hard. I feel like it's a game in which I see it sort of at a ground level by being a developer, that it requires a lot of work. You need to do a lot of opens. You need to be there as much as I can and take as many people as you can through, just to have a bigger chance. In Australia, there's something called strike rate. So a good agent usually closes 1 in 20 opens. A bad agent closes 1 in 30 opens.
Okay, that's a good way to calculate it. The strike rate, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as working with real estate agents, which ones stand up to you? What kind of agent do you work with best?
Look, first of all, because sometimes we try to sell off the plan, I like the people that want to take a chance and promote and advertise our off the plan sales. A lot of people are a bit lazy, or they just decide to not focus on this just because it's a bit of a harder sale. But if you sell one, then you may have another 50 that you can sell in a project that does off the plan sales. So it's a give and take, I guess. So in my opinion, yeah, I just look at how hard are they working. Do they plan to do opens? What's their marketing strategy? So I guess if you ask 4 or 5 questions, you get an understanding of how knowledgeable that person is and how hardworking they are. And also I look at their past results. So there is a website in Australia where we can see in that suburb for that product, who's the best guy that you can reach out to. And I typically reach out to the best 5 in that area. And I even try to engage them a bit from the planning phase, where we look at the plans of a project and I ask them, look, what would you improve? What would you advise me to improve, just so you are able to get a higher price or a better price?
Yeah.
So in this way, I also see how their mind works, and again, how knowledgeable they are. As an example, in a project that I just finished, I worked with the second guy just because he had some very good ideas on how to improve the floor plans of the project.
Nice. That's really good. That gives you some input for your project, for your upcoming ones too.
Definitely.
So tell us, if you're like, when you're working on new project or new construction development, what kind of strategies in the marketing that you've seen are the most impressive for you, or the one that works the best for pre-construction?
Interesting. So first of all, one strategy that we've seen works quite well and we plan to implement for all of our future projects is to do a virtual tour.
Yeah.
Especially if you try to sell off the plan, people can't really picture the space, can't really understand how it will look. So therefore, giving them a virtual tour will enable them to have a better idea of how the space will look and be able to make a decision of the plan. Secondly, I think it's all about the location. As an example, we only develop things next to nature. So as an idea, this is a river scraper. So this is a development next to a river, and this is a park scraper, which is a development next to a park, a big park that is in front. Initially, I was just doing this because I've seen a developer back home in Romania, where I'm originally from, only do developments next to nature and had some nice developments. So I said, okay, let me do this as well. However, when I went deeper into this, I've seen that from the many developments that are in Melbourne currently, top two, number 1 and 2, are next to a park. So in a way, you don't need to market too much. You don't need to have the best product, the best project, as long as you're next to nature, next to a park, a river, or the ocean. Just because that is a more in demand and more sexy place for people to be living in. So the location will do its own marketing, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Next to nature makes sense. And then that seems to be working for you. And then there's always an option, I guess, to find that.
Yeah, obviously it's a bit harder, but the way I see it, in development, you're struggling a little bit. You may struggle with selling, or you may struggle with finding the location. So the way I see it, I decide to struggle by working harder to find these best locations that are not easy to find, easy to negotiate, that are next to nature, compared to the other option, which is struggling to sell. Because if we're in a suburb where it's my development next to nature and it's your development next to other townhouses on a main road, then there's nothing that you can do from a product standpoint so you can compete with me. Yeah. Even if the product is better, there's no way you can compete with me.
That makes sense. As an entrepreneur yourself, you've built a business, you've worked hard to get to where you are. What would be your 3 key actions that you have done that brought you the most success?
Good question. So I think it's a combination of things. If I were to stick to 3, I'd say have big dreams.
Nice.
Then create a plan on how to achieve your dreams, and just massive action. I feel like becoming successful is a bit overrated. It's just about taking a lot of action, working a lot, and then in time you'll see compounding results. So I feel like in time you will see that maybe in the beginning you do a lot of work and you see nothing, and as you progress you'll start seeing that maybe you start to do a little work and then you get a lot of results. So it's that's my opinion. Even though entrepreneurship, it's most of the time a struggle, and you are struggling a lot more than with by having a job. It pays off long term. That's my opinion.
Yeah, very good. Working hard is always a key, anyways.
Yeah, as a physical example here. Last year, I probably implemented close to 10,000 actions. So I write down everything that I do, from an email, a phone call, or calling a database. Because I also do, count the amount of actions that my team does. I probably do the job of 7 people. So it's also about focusing and saying to a lot of things, but I think that's key. If I either work hard or I spend $500,000 employing another 7 people.
Yeah, I like the compounding effect of your actions. When you talk about actions, are they lead generation actions or any kind of business growth action?
They're a bit of everything. Just because we're still in the startup phase, I do deal finding, sales, finance, marketing, sometimes site supervision. I do things to take care of myself, just so I can stay mentally sane. Things for networking. It's a bunch of things. I classify everything that I do in 2 categories. One, what job is it for? So then when I want to delegate that job, I just can see what are the 3,000 actions that I implemented last year for the job of deal finding, as an example. And then I classify what's a rough dollar figure that I would that job has a value. So I sort of go $10 per hour, $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour, and try to spend as much time in the $1,000 per hour and delegate as much as I can the others.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good system.
Yeah, it's I call it the game of winning in business.
Nice. Yes. Winning in business, that's important. And as a business entrepreneur, what would be the best advice you've ever received?
Good question. I remember that it really helped me find solutions and find ways of working a deal in certain situation when it wasn't really advice, it was the story of how a friend of mine sold his company for a few millions. Basically, it was very interesting. He was not negotiating, oh, I want 7 million, you give me 5, let's do 3, I don't know, 6.5 or whatever. He started to negotiate on each variable. He said, okay, so when you're buying my business, you're buying my team, you're buying myself, you're buying the assets, you're buying the inventory, you're buying the distribution, you're buying this, that, the software. And he started negotiating on each variable. He said, look, if you don't give me the right price for this variable, then maybe it's not valuable to you. Maybe I don't give it to you. Maybe you don't want my team. Therefore, don't worry, I get my team and I do something else with them. Or maybe you don't need me. Okay. But in this way, he was able to probably double his exit figure. I think this is a principle that I try to apply in a lot of things that I do. Even, for example, when I get a quote from a builder, I don't ask him, look, just give me a price. I tell him, look, this is the structure of the quote that I want. These are the 50 things that are a cost driver. I want you to quote on each of one of them. So then in this way, we make sure that we're not wasting money on things that maybe I am able to get cheaper than you are. Maybe for Windows, I have a better connection and I can save $20,000. Then in this way, he's going to be transparent with his margin. However, I'm not going to negotiate his margin. I just want to make sure that we're not wasting money on the hard costs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Each variable has its own value, and then depending for you or for him, what works in each direction.
Yeah. We can work and improve each variable a little bit.
Makes sense. Very cool. You talk about for realtors, one of the key traits that you like is someone with a big dream. What are your big dreams for your corporation, for your building, for your business?
My vision is to build a $1 billion property development company.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
It's a good question. There's an abundance of ways of getting there. At the moment, I'm pursuing the development of residential and childcare assets. However, I'm exploring other avenues as well. I feel like there is a way of doing that in property investment as well, because I guess my biggest quality, which is deal finding, I can also leverage it within property investment. And I'm looking at a few assets currently. Basically, I'm looking at vacant assets that I can secure, find a tenant, but then only after I find the tenant go unconditional. So then obviously in commercial investment, it's all about the cap rate. So if you buy something vacant and then it has a tenant that brings, I don't know, 500K per year, then maybe the value has doubled. And if it doubles in between the moment that I have it under contract or under due diligence, and then I only go unconditional and settle after I have the tenant, then that's an interesting arbitrage that I'm looking at. I'm even looking at exploring buying a vacant hotel now.
Nice, very cool. Very big dreams, very cool projects.
Thank you.
And then tell us what kind of business books or resources that you like to educate yourself from, or authors that you like to read from.
Okay, I have a habit of trying to watch a YouTube video that I learn something from daily. And typically, I don't know, it might be Elon Musk or Peter Thiel or some of those big gladiators that we have in the business. And secondly, I listen to one book on Blink List, I think is the name of the app, per day. So it's like a summary, maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter, but it's one book per day. So in this way, I sort of listen to 360 books per year.
Per year, yeah. What would be things that you implement from your learnings from books that you listen to on a daily basis?
From everything that I consume in terms of content, it may be a movie, a book, or a YouTube video, I try to get at least one action that I implement after. So I look at it with the brain of, okay, what can I learn from here and how can I apply? If I get one action from each piece of content, then I think that's going to be very good long term, because you can learn from everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the action driven, the action minded, the action tracking, consistent.
It's all about actions. The way I see it, it's a system, it's a process. I don't think it's you don't really, you may get lucky along the journey, but you don't stumble upon $1 billion. You only create it by grinding,
action, working hard, and showing up every day, for sure. That's amazing. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story with us. Thanks for sharing your success, and tell us, how do we find you, or where do we find you?
If anybody's looking to have a chat and explore potentially investing in one of our development projects in Australia, the best thing would be to reach out on LinkedIn or on our website, HeroX.com.au.
Perfect. Yeah, that's amazing. We'll share that in the links as well. That's great. Thanks for joining. If you know anyone who could benefit from Dan's belief and advice, please click and share it with them.